I'm Korynn Morrison, and this is my interview with the Fear to Freedom project.
Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Fear to Freedom project, and I'm here with artist Korynn Morrison. Korynn, welcome.
Hi.
Korynn, how would you, so Korynn's going to be in our upcoming book, Sisters with Soul. Korynn, how would you introduce yourself and your crazy life?
Oh, my crazy life. It certainly is crazy. I would say that I'm an artist before anything else, but I would say that my life is one crazy creative adventure, really. That's what I'd say about my life. In every possible aspect, you can see by the state of the room.
So we're in Korynn's studio at the moment. I have no idea what any of it does. How much of your time would you spend in this room?
I don't miss a day in this room. I'm in the room from 5:30 in the morning until about 10:30 in the morning. And I literally don't miss a day. I paint every day. And if I don't, I'm not the type of person you want to be around without the creative side of things happening first.
As someone who has no painting skills whatsoever, can you describe to me what it is that you get from painting?
I'd say that painting for me is really, it's more of a joy in the decision to do it in itself first. Being an artist is, before anything else, it's like this thing where it's almost like you've got to convince the entire world that you're an artist.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And
so I feel like by walking in here every day, that's success to me as an artist before even producing the work. And then when it comes to actually creating the work, well, for me, that process, it's a very, very spiritual type process. I couldn't even describe to anyone the joy that I get from making art, from failing at art as well. Like, I feel like there's a certain amount of joy in failing when it comes to like making mistakes. And
are you sure?
Look at that painting behind you. Like, I painted over it. I'm starting fresh.
Oh, and I just thought it wasn't finished.
Well, it hasn't even been started. It had stuff on it, and then I painted over it because I wasn't happy with it.
Okay.
And it's like, I feel like those failures just get you to a new level every single time. And with every single artwork that you finish, it's almost like you finish an artwork, and I only know that an artwork's finished when I feel like I look at it and I go, how the hell did that happen? Who did that? Like, at that point, I realised that the painting has really become something of itself. And that's the joy. That's the biggest part about it, is when you can step back from your painting and know that the painting is now speaking bigger than you ever did.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like it's such a pleasure to be able to put something like that out in the world. Like,
how does that feel? So when you step away from something and there's no more to be done, what is that feeling at that point?
It's like this gigantic breath of fresh air, but it's like breathing for the first time. Every single time you make a painting that you're satisfied with. Yeah. And it's like a mixture. It's like the word sublime. I remember reading it somewhere when I was at uni. Sublime is like a terrifying beauty.
That's an interesting phrase, terrifying beauty.
But see, this is what art is like. It's like when the artwork's finished and you're satisfied with it, it's so terrifying because you know that the next painting that you make, is it going to equate to the feeling that you're currently feeling?
Right.
And that's where the stepping into the studio each day to start again or to keep going is, it's a terrifying and yet joyful experience all at the same time, if you know what I mean. And these are the parts that I think are the hardest about being an artist as well. It's how do you create an artwork, feel that, and then put it up on a wall and have someone turn to you and go, oh, what is it? Like, that's the part that I think I've had to learn to deal with the most.
And how do you deal with that? Because when you pour your heart and soul into something, and then someone obviously just doesn't understand it or criticizes it, how do you deal with that?
Of course, you get hurt, but I think I just pour all of that back into the next painting. Like, I'm not the type of person that stops in anything that I do. I just keep going and going and going. And I guess it's always my intention to get something from that last work. And I do take on board a lot of what everyone says to me. Like, the next body of work I'm working on has a lot more to do with colour, because in the past, everyone said, oh, you know what, your work's so beautiful, but it's so dark. And for me, when I looked at those paintings, I wouldn't even consider them dark. But now, when I'm looking at them from where I'm at now, I'm like, I wonder what I was feeling back then. Like, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I do take on board what people say, but I'm very careful that I'm not painting for anyone else first.
Right.
I always paint for me first, and the way that I work is very, very intuitive. I do these little sketches around the place, and they're part of those are actually done through chance, because I actually stick a device in my car and it maps where I go as I'm driving, and that's where I form a basis for structure for a lot of my work. So I try not to be very, very technical with how I do things. I kind of come in and, like I said, it's like a breath of fresh air. I'm breathing for the first time every time I set up and start again. And I think by doing that, you take the pressure off yourself a bit, especially when you've got people that are saying, oh, I don't like that, or I like this, or you need to do more of this. You got to be so careful with how much you let absorb, if you know what I mean.
So you take some of it in, but you don't take too much of it.
Yeah. I've always got, like, I build like a little visual, like a little invisible wall for myself. And I just pick and choose what I let come into my bubble.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've got to ask you this. I mean, going into school, art probably is not valued as much as it should be. There are a few things that are not valued as much as it should be. And then when you grow up, people are always asking you, what are you going to do for a living?
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, as someone who's persisted doing this, what advice would you have for someone who's wanting to do anything that's probably not seen as a proper job, and everyone's criticizing them, saying, get a real job, you'll never, it could be acting, could be painting, whatever it is. I mean, have you ever had to deal with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, how do you get through that? Because that's difficult.
Look, it's so difficult. I mean, I've been blessed to have a family that is just so supportive of my creative endeavours. I've always said that I was going to be an artist, and I've done exactly what I set out to do.
Yeah.
However, of course, over the years, you can be working with people that don't feel that way or whatnot. And I mean, I never forget the time where I was actually training myself in an area where there is a lot of very wealthy, very upper class people. And one of them turned to me and said, oh, what do you do for work? And I said, I'm an artist. And they kind of go, like, the look on their face was just really confused. Like, they didn't even know.
That can't feel good.
Like, no, I looked at them and I actually giggled. Like, oh, yeah, how cool's that? I love getting a rise out of people like that. It gives me much joy.
I would have taken offence at that someone sort of just can't see that.
Do you know what? I don't take myself too seriously, to be honest. Like, I just think that I feel sorry for people like that. I really do. Like,
okay.
I think that there is a part in our education system that is missing the passion. Like,
absolutely.
I could go on for hours about, how it just feels to me, and the more young people I come in contact with, there's just this, it's like there's this anxiety, worry-built system around them that's telling them, you have to go and you have to do this subjects and you have to get these units and then you have to go to this university and then you have to get these marks, and you have to do that because this job is going to make you money.
Yeah. And
because that's what the government wants us to do, and they're not paying for you to do that arts degree, so don't go and do that arts degree.
Exactly.
And I just think that is going to affect our society so much. I can't tell you the amount of anxious, depressed young people
Yeah.
that I see constantly. And I just think that everybody around them is not asking them the right questions. And it's like, for me, when I was in year 10, I never forget, my pop sat down with me, and my pop was the type of person that left school when he was in year 9 and just went and followed his passions, did what he wanted to do. And he said, he didn't ask me what I wanted to do at school. He asked me, what makes you the most happy? What are you passionate about? And I said, art. I just want to be an artist. And I told him all about my dream to be an artist and that I wanted to go to National Art School and all of this stuff. And he goes, cool, we'll just do that. Just focus on that, because you become successful in the things that make you the most happy. And that happiness thing, that passion thing, like, I look at kids and I can't see it anymore. I can't see many of them that just have this joy for living.
Yeah.
Like, and I think with a creative field like this, that's what it really is. It's waking up every day and going, I wonder what's going to happen today. Oh, what am I going to be inspired by? Like, you don't get that out of a textbook. No. I don't think.
No.
I
don't remember any of that coming from a textbook.
No. But I do think that there's not the right questions being asked to young people these days. And I think because of that, we're going to end up with generations of children who don't know who they are and don't have a direction for what they really want to do. It's all well and good to go and do what, you know, your parents might think is the right thing or your school might think is the right thing. But I think that you're the person that you end up with for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're the one you have to walk around with. If you can't feel comfortable in your own skin, well, no wonder there are so many unhappy people.
Yeah.
And I could go on for hours about that. I just think that there's a big place in our society that needs to be filled with more passion than education, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any observations on being a female artist? Because we're talking about a women's empowerment specific book. So, I mean, there are some fields where women are, the equality is sort of coming on a level, and there are some industries where it's really lagging behind. Have you felt any particular difficulty being a female artist versus just an artist?
Do you know what? Like, I know that this is talked about so much, about female artists being unrepresented and rah. I just think that that's another one of those things that someone can latch onto and make them feel like they're not able to be valued. Like, I really don't believe in the victim mentality on any part of life. I believe that if I'm willing to put in the effort and if I'm willing to be honest with myself and put myself out there and talk to people like you and be in things like your Fear to Freedom project and this wonderful book, like, that's not going to hold me back because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's probably too many women latching onto that and using it as an excuse.
Sure.
So I'm very careful not to get sucked into those things. And instead I choose to look at it and go, yep, well, it is what it is, but it's not going to affect me. It's like I'm nominating myself to check out of that side of things and just be brilliant anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So you don't really pay too much, even though it's there's no point paying attention to it if it's going to hold you back. Correct. What do you think about when you're painting? Where does the brain wander to?
I feel like I have this hunger to just get better each time. And, like, there is no gold medal in art or anything like that.
No.
But I think it's this feeling in myself, like, it's a feeling of appreciation for continuing to do the things that I love to do.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I get when I paint, like, when I'm in here, I don't want to leave. I feel like this is reality. And then when I have to go and do other things, I feel like, I wish I could stay in my little magical, colourful world forever. You know what I mean? And it's a choice for me to try and bring my creativity into all aspects of my life so that I'm constantly feeling like I'm becoming a better person. Because art really grows me. It makes me feel like I'm learning every day And I think as soon as we start to feel comfortable in what we're doing, as soon as we start to feel like we're not out of our comfort zone anymore, or that things are kind of getting normal, I get really uncomfortable with that. Like I
You
feel,
get uncomfortable with feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
so I think that's part of why I love creativity, because it's, you're always so far out of your comfort zone. You never feel comfortable. Like even when I'm mixing up my palette this morning, I'm thinking, oh, that colour's not going to go. Oh, putting it on and wiping it off. I'm going, yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. That's
But you must have done it thousands of times by now.
Yeah, but every time you do it, it's
different.
It's different and it's scary.
Yeah.
And that's what's so exciting about it.
So there's no formula 1 + 1 is 2?
No. God, no.
I know I've asked you this for the book, but I'll ask you it again. What do you think the biggest challenge facing young Australian women today is?
Our education system, 100%. Our biggest challenge is that there is not enough people talking about the happiness side of things. Not enough people talking about asking young people what makes their heart sing, what makes them tick, what makes them feel the most joy in their life. It's like, that sounds so stupid. Like I sit here thinking about myself and I think, like, that's ridiculous to say. Like, but...
Why is it ridiculous?
Well, I just think that it's so abnormal, that way of thinking now. Like, if I was to sit here and have a conversation with a young person about, what they wanted to do when they grew up, they would automatically turn around to me and tell me about what university degree they wanted to go to and, the degree that's going to make them the most money, or, they can't go and do that arts degree because it's now no longer funded. And I just think that there's got to be more people in the world, more teachers, more parents that are willing to stick by the happiness of their child before what everyone else wants them to do.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest problem.
Right.
Too many young people that are going to end up being unhappy in themselves because they haven't been asked what they want to do.
I've asked, as I told you before, I've asked a lot of young people that, and the answer I don't get the uni answer, I get the answer I don't know. It's literally they've never thought about what would actually make them happy.
And I think we're very overstimulated these days, like with the internet and everything going on. I just think there's no quiet time for kids. There's no time where they're left playing. Like, I remember when I was young, I used to go outside and just play in the garden.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't see that anymore, do you? Because everyone's on their phones taking photos of the garden rather than playing in the garden.
And I just think that when there is this much information coming at young people, they're so used to that having quiet time, and that's what creating is. It's quiet time, that they're not used to thinking like that. Like, I think, like, when we'll pull it back to art, like when you finish an artwork, like, it's not just a landscape. What that actually is, it's a self-portrait of me that's being put up there. It's like a picture of my soul, and I have to decide whether I'm willing to put that out there to be criticised on or whatnot. And it's like, when you have to face that, like, look at yourself in the mirror, and it's a painting. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror and going, well, I'm willing to be told this and this and this, like, I don't think you get that in many other aspects of life anymore.
It's very personal.
Yeah. And I think that by sitting down and perhaps educating young people about what they want to be, I think that would be difficult for them, because I think that with society how it is, and with Instagram and Facebook and the internet and all of this stuff, I think that they're told, they're not forced to make, a decision for themselves. The biggest decision they've got is whether to swipe right or left, or to keep scrolling down. And what filter to put over their photograph. And I really worry about when I have kids one day. Like, it's, I just think as a parent, how would I prevent, that from being so overwhelming? And I think that the only way that we can do that in society at the moment is to ask those really personal questions and to force people to take time out, like quiet. Like when I paint, I often don't even have music on.
That's interesting.
Sometimes I'll have a podcast on, but quite often, like if I'm really getting into things, I like the quiet.
Silence.
Yeah. I like the silence because I think in silence you hear things. Like, it's, they say, they say the unseen helping hands, and I'm in no way like a religious person or anything like that. But, I do feel that there's something in silence that's very different. Yeah. And it's like what they say, to go for a 20-minute walk outside. But even when you do that, how many people have headphones in these days? We don't get quiet time. It's like we're almost forcing ourselves out of it to hide what's real.
Well, I think we're uncomfortable with it. It's really interesting you bring that up because I have been playing around with silence even when I'm driving because I find that the music kind of obscures the conversation that you might be having in your head. And I feel like I come up with much better ideas creatively when there's silence versus as soon as I turn that music on, I can't almost hear what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's the same as in here. Like even though sometimes the music will be down really low or there will be a podcast on, I just get frustrated that I have to turn it off. It's like, shh, I'm thinking. Like...
It's an interesting dichotomy with you though, because you strike me as someone, you talked about your coffee. What was it? A double shot
piccolo.
A double shot piccolo. You strike me as someone who can't sit still. You obviously did a lot of gymnastics growing up. You don't sit still in gymnastics. Yet you're talking about silence and operating in complete silence. That sounds like it's an interesting...
It's a balance for sure. And I think that's probably why I do what I do in here. And it's funny, Mum was reading a book the other day called Quiet. I'm not sure who it's written by, but Mum was reading and she's like, Korynn, you think you're an extrovert. You're actually not an extrovert. You're an introvert. I was like, no. I don't believe you. Anyway, like she was reading out some of the qualities of an introvert, and like it turns out I am quite an introvert. Like when I don't get my time in the studio, like literally one day out of the studio, it's like this crank in me is just like welling up inside me because I haven't had that time to just breathe. And that's how I would describe my art. It's like breathing for me. It's like if someone goes, oh, just don't make a painting this week. That's like me holding my breath and suffocating.
Well, I'm imagining that's why your Instagram handle is art is to exist.
Correct.
Versus art is optional.
Correct.
Well, what would you have a harder time giving up, coffee or art?
Art, for sure. I could give up coffee. Oh, I don't know. We had this conversation. Oh, no, I'm never giving up coffee again. I don't know. No, they come hand in hand. I've got to have a coffee in here while I'm painting.
Well, let me ask you this, just completely random question. Does coffee help make you more creative? Because there's all these studies about what coffee does in the brain. No. It's just it's nice to have.
It's just nice to have. It's just nice to have. I just like the taste of it and... Oh, yeah, don't want to go back to those coffee withdrawal symptoms. Thanks. No, art is like breathing for me, and coffee is like eating for me. It's like my substance.
So how would you be able to, let's say, go on an extended holiday, like away? You wouldn't be able to.
I don't like to go on extended holidays. This is why I don't take many holidays. If I do, I take one of my drawing books with me and I do like a lot of drawing, and then I come back and I just kind of explode.
In a good way.
In a good way, in paint. But yeah, they're just like if someone was to say to me, just don't make that painting, take a week off. I'm like, no, I couldn't think of anything worse. I was telling you before about sitting down. I can't get through a whole movie. I got to be like drawing at the same time, or I don't like to sit still unless I'm in this room. So it's like if I'm not in here...
Have you ever tried meditation?
Yes, I do. I meditate every night.
Oh, you meditate every night?
I do.
But that's sitting still.
Yes, but that's like after my day. So it's like I only get to that point when I feel satisfied with how much I've gotten done in the day.
Okay, all right.
I've actually tried to meditate in the middle of the day, like on my lunch break, and I can't do it. I feel like it's unproductive.
I'd like to see you try in the morning.
Oh, no.
Because that's what you're told to do. It's like, first thing, wake up and meditate in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning, my thing goes off and it says, get some headspace. It's like, I'll just get a coffee. I get my coffee, go get my
I feel,
headspace. Yeah, now I'm
I
good.
feel like you're not following your phone's advice.
No, but then I do it because I'm not a good sleeper.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Probably because I've got like 1,000 things that are still going on in my brain. So I have to meditate at night before I go to sleep.
Right.
Because it's like something that tells me, okay, your day's over and you need to stop thinking now. But yeah, I've tried to meditate in the mornings. It doesn't work. I've had people go, oh, you should come to the yoga class. And I was like, what time? 8 o'clock in the morning. No, it doesn't work that way. Not unless it's 9:30 at night.
I have this really funny image of you in a yoga class and just going absolutely ballistic. Not following any of the instructions, like starting to tumble around or something. I was going, what the hell's wrong with her?
I know, but I feel like everyone around me kind of has to grab me by the shoulders every now and then and go, just stop. And that's what the art does. I do think that I am someone that does so much that I burn out, and I've gotten a lot better over the last couple of years of saying no to certain things, to the point where now I'm left with everything that I'm currently doing in my life is just I love.
That's a good place to get
to. And I just think that there's a lot of people in the world that go, oh, I can't do this because of this, or I can't do this because of this, or I can't, we'll make a decision to change that. You keep doing the same things and expect different results. You're a crazy person. Everyone's heard that quote.
Yep.
But it's 100% true.
Absolutely.
And I just think it comes to a point where you kind of got to go, okay, when am I the most happy in my day? And take it back to that simple question. And don't let the whole, oh, but this person needs me to do this person needs me to do this. I think that if you can always come back to that, what makes me happy, I think that you will be one of those people that other people want to be around.
Yeah.
And I, especially, coaching gymnastics and talking to young children, I'm really wary that the moment that they leave my presence, they need to feel better than when they arrive.
For sure.
And I am very much like that in every aspect of my life. I really feel like it's a role of mine that I need to make sure that my aura is very happy, and I'm not a not happy person ever. So
it's not hard to tell.
No, but it's a choice, and this is
Absolutely.
the thing. Like happiness is a choice, and
regardless of what's going on.
Correct, and I just think because of all the talk of anxiety and depression and all of that, there's so many people battling some horrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
And the one thing I could honestly say is that they can still pull themselves out of that. And it's not a matter of going from feeling really, really depressed to being the happiest person in the world. It's just about feeling the smallest increment better every single breath, or every single thing that you do in the day. Just find a way of making it feel just a little bit better until you're on that phase of thinking that is a genuine happy phase of thinking. And I mean, I can't really, I'm not some expert. I just know that obviously I'm not happy all the time, but I think what I've gotten good at is finding ways that I can quite easily pull myself out of feeling like I'm down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Like I kind of just give myself a bit of a slap across the face and go, oh, Korynn, go paint another painting. You're fine. You got the best life ever. You teach gymnastics and paint pretty pictures. What? How much better could it get? Like, I just have like little funny conversations with myself about that. So, yeah, I just don't take myself too seriously.
What are the best socials or best websites to get you on?
So they can find me on Facebook under Art Is To Exist, one word. It'll come up as my art page. And the same thing on Instagram at Art Is To Exist. One word, no dots, no underscores, nothing like that. My website is www.artistoexist.com. However, it is still under construction at the moment. It's being revamped. It should be relaunched in a couple of months, though. So they're the best places to grab me.
Sounds good. Now, you're the second interview I've done for this,
Awesome.
so I'm still finding my way through what I want to ask, but I'm going to end up with the same 10 questions that I always
Great.
do, because I can't think of a better way of ending. So we have 10 questions
Yes.
to finish with. Number one, what is your favourite word?
Favourite word? Vibration.
That's a new one. Number 2, what is your least favourite word?
Can't. All of the kids
I
in
can
my...
literally see you when you say that going,
Seriously,
can't.
if any of my gym kids that I coach, was to even hear you ask that question, they would have said it already, because I don't let them say it.
No, I can see your jaw clenching even when you think about it.
I just hate it. I hate it so much. No such word as can't. I literally, you should see my thesaurus. I crossed it out of my thesaurus. I blacked it out because I hate it that much.
Wow. Okay. This reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. I don't know why I want to ask you, but when is the last time that you felt sorry for yourself?
I don't know. Sometimes when I get burnt out, I feel like everything's too hard.
Yeah.
But that only lasts for like a split second, and then I go, oh, go paint something.
Yeah.
Like, you'll feel better.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say that I don't often feel that way at all.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but...
I think it's a good thing. I mean, because we all take hits, but it's a question of how quickly can you get back up.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's a gymnastics thing. You got to learn to fail. Like,
Sure.
You know, and my parents as well, they were really, really clever in the way that they brought me up. Every time I failed at something, give me a high five. Good. You're one step closer to achieving. And it's what I tell the kids at the gym. It's how I literally live my life. Like, I love failure. Like, it's a bit of a get up and go for me. Like, I don't use it for the negative reasons. I kind of use it for fuel.
That's really interesting, because when you say the word failure, you actually look kind of excited about it, versus when you say can't, your whole jaw locks up.
No, because failure is a process. Like, you think of, like, I will say, I've failed at thousands of artworks that haven't worked. But for every failure, I've learnt about the next step.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in life. I mean, if you don't understand that, well, you don't move at all. You got to fail.
Exactly.
So failure and can't are very different things.
Definitely.
Very different.
Yeah. Okay, third question. Mm-hmm. What turns you on?
What turns me on? I actually thrive off watching other people achieve. I really do. Not just like myself and my art. Like, yes, I love achieving in that side of things, but what really turns me on, which is probably why I keep gymnastics coaching, is that I get so much life out of watching other people do things that I know is hard.
Right.
Like, the hardest and hardest of hardest things that I've seen people fail and fail and fail and just keep getting up day after day after day. And it's like, this is why I love my coaching job.
Yeah.
I just get to watch these young people who are so hungry to keep failing.
Yeah.
And how good is that? Like, that's a sport that teaches them they have to fail in order to get better.
Yeah.
That makes me just thrive more than anything else. And then when I talk to other artists about things that haven't worked and then now are working, like, that makes me excited. The people around me that I've watched go through mental health issues like depression and things like that, now that I can see them thriving, that makes me so excited.
Yeah.
That does excite me.
What about what turns you off?
Weak people. Victim mentality. People that say that I can't do something. See that word, can't? Oh, it's so horrible. I can't do something because of.
Yeah.
I have zero sympathy for people who are willing to be a victim of what else is going around them. Like, you just have to take one listen to the news at night and hear about all those people that have done bad things and how bad politics is and how bad the universe is and how bad the education and how bad the greenhouse effect is. And it's like sometimes I just choose to check out of all of that.
Well, I have.
I don't watch
listen
the news.
to the news because exactly what you just said.
And it's like, I'm seriously, I have to be careful in the way that I word things as well. But I just think that you are 100% in control of what you get out of your life.
Yeah.
If if you get yourself into a bad place, we all do, but it is up to you and you alone to pull yourself out of that. You can't be relying on, someone else to motivate you. I don't think that somebody else's motivation is enough to put someone back into their own skin.
Absolutely.
I think that takes knowledge of self, which is the part that we're kind of missing in society. Like, it takes you sitting back and having a really good hard look at yourself and going, how can I make me feel better?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Victim mentality, it's the worst.
But it's up there with can't.
Oh, same thing. Same thing. And I've got, yeah. Yeah.
I'm imagining that word can't doesn't come up very often in your training sessions.
Doesn't, ever. They have a lolly jar. I give them a lolly jar at the start of the year, and my jar's empty. So we have a lolly system. So my jar is empty.
Right.
Theirs is full. For every time they say, I can't, I'm sore, I won't, they arrive late, their hair's not done, they're not in a leotard, they forget their skipping rope, one of their lollies has to come out of their jar and they have to put it in my jar. And then at the end of the year, they get to keep what they've got. It's funny. It works for the 7-year-olds and it works for the 17-year-olds. No one likes to lose a lolly.
I was going to say probably not even stop at 17. I think it was just the fact of having to give something to you.
They don't like opening that lid, that's for sure. But it's good. It's good. I feel like at least by doing that, I'm developing good humans, not just gymnasts.
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm teaching them something that's going to benefit for them in life that maybe schools aren't teaching them. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about what sound or noise do you love?
I actually really like classical music. Love violin. Like if I do ever have music on in here, it's usually really classical. Something about it, I actually heard it actually does something to the hemispheres of your brain, puts you in like the prime state for learning or something.
Oh, I think I might
have. It's Baroque classical music.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually Baroque that I listen to, but it's just got violins, and I actually do find that before I start painting, if I listen to that, I'll shut it off while I'm painting.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I warm up the space a little bit with it. Like I put my incense and my oil burners on.
Right.
I put a bit of music on and then I'll go down, get my coffee, come back up, and I feel like the space is warmed up.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that sound is very important. I listen to it when I'm driving sometimes too. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I could tell you that I hate drilling. There's a lot of building going on around here. That doesn't help with my creativity. I don't like the sound of babies crying, but I don't think anyone is. I think that's a very heart-wrenching sound that I can't deal with.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when children cry either. Like at the gym, any of the kids will tell you, I'm good at stopping anything from getting too.
Right.
Any of that vibe, that tension vibe, anything like that, I don't like.
Okay. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick?
Create more time.
Create more time?
Yeah. It's because I love everything that I'm doing in my life, and I don't want to give up any aspect of what I'm doing. I don't want to give up my coaching or going to the gym or being in here or doing stuff with the art gallery. But there's only 7 days in a week, and I'm like, if only I could make an 8th and a 9th day. I don't want to cut anything back.
You don't want just one extra day, you want 2 extra days.
No, I want 2. If someone was to say you're a cup half full or half empty person, I'd say my cup is overflowing, give me another cup. Seriously. Because I honestly have a love for everything in my life that I'm doing. There's not... there's hard parts of all of it. And sometimes I feel like, I don't know if I can keep doing as much as I'm doing. But then the thought of giving any of it up is very, very difficult for me. And I've chosen next year to spend more time doing things creatively and only coaching my higher level kids next year. But I do feel good with that. I wouldn't have made that decision if I didn't feel...
it's not really a giving up. It's more a rearrangement of priorities.
That's right. But everything I do just makes me so passionate and excited. And I guess because I've got one of those jobs that is an inspiring job, that helps me wake up every morning. Like I honestly wake up every morning and I go, cool, let's go. Like I never get out of bed and go, I don't want to start work today. Like I'm never ever like that. And, you know, I think that's, you know, I hope that that's what comes out of my work. Like I do, like if that's the one thing that I can say about my art is before anyone sees it for what it is, like I just hope it has that vibe about it that's just, I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And if that's the one kind of goal, it's to get closer and closer to that that part of art that you can't explain.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It
like
does.
I want people to, like my ultimate goal would be like how I feel when I stand in front of a Cy Twombly painting. Like I just nearly brought to tears. Like it's just so overwhelming, the feeling that you can get from something that's like not even visually beautiful, but beautiful and terrifying. And I just think if I can have that much power in my work that someone is nearly brought to tears, like that would be my ultimate goal for my work. Like if I saw someone crying in front of my work, I'd be like, oh, tick it off, I'm done. Like
you'd be happy.
I'd be happy. That'd be my gold medal. Like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what creativity does for me. If I can get it visually to that point where someone else feels how I feel, that would be real success for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about what job or profession other than your own would you most like to attempt? If you had your 8th and 9th days.
Oh, I know. This is an interesting one. Okay. If I had another job, I would want to be one of those people that was like in the desert, like one of the rangers that was like in the desert, just out in nature all the time, like, or even like a national park guide or something. I don't know, something that was to do with nature.
Okay.
Or just being in it and having quiet.
Oh, okay.
Certainly wouldn't have anything to do with technology or computers.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And yeah, definitely something like that.
That
Something
sounds like
more
an
quiet.
interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remove yourself a little bit.
Yes.
What about what job or profession other than your own would you definitely not like to attempt?
Oh, don't give me anything to do with maths. Nothing to do with maths. Like accounting, I just went and got my tax done, and that was the most anxiety I have felt like for the last 2 years. Just me knowing that I'm going to get money back. Like it was supposed to be an exciting thing, but just the fact that there was numbers there was enough to make me like want to vomit. It was horrific. I can't use a calculator. Like my numbering is so bad. Like I can't deal with numbers. I'm serious. It's terrible.
So what's the first word that comes to mind when I say maths?
Oh, vomit. Like, I hate maths so much. Like, I didn't even get through high school with maths, just actively
do you
took
remember
myself
like
out.
having a bad teacher, or did you just hate the subject from the get-go?
It is the opposite of creativity. There is one answer. Like,
That's
you think
true.
of creativity.
1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, there's the good thing about creativity, there's no freaking formula.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. It's everything in the middle. That's why I liked English. There's no right or wrong. It's everything in the middle.
Yeah.
But then the maths, they're having one answer, like out of all of these numbers, you have to find one answer?
Well, you can find another one, but it's wrong.
Oh, I can't deal with that.
You can say 1 + 1 is 3, you just get marked wrong.
Oh, no. Yeah, yuck. Anything to do with numbers.
Vomit.
Anyone around me, don't ask Korynn about numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'm glad you're happy. That's what. Just that. I'm glad you're happy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And no numbers in heaven, I'm hoping for your sake.
Definitely no numbers in heaven.
Well, Korynn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
I want to thank everyone for watching, and catch you soon. Hey, it's Adrian. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to click here to subscribe, or if you'd like to check out more of our videos, then click here, and also make sure to follow us on all our socials right here. Speak to you next.